Hello, Aquarius, and welcome back to Mind, Body, and Heart Tower Therapy. I'm here to do reading for February 2020. So, first of all, Happy New Year. We've made it. Yay. Second of all, it's happy birthday. And I just realized that the last reading I focused mainly on the when I was doing January, I was focusing a lot on Aquarius energy. I mean, of course, that was the point, but on the Aquarius part of January, which is actually quite short. So, yeah, I hope that wasn't too confusing. So, we just entered Aquarius season. This is very exciting energy for all of us. We are finally coming out of that Capricornian, quite intense energy. There is a lot going on in Capricorn, so must have been quite heavy for all of us. And yeah, let's see what shows up for you. So, wow, the two of wands already. So yeah, this is a general reading for Aquarius, Sun, Moon, and Rising signs. If it resonates, it resonates, and if it doesn't, then it's just not your reading. Don't try to stretch it, fit it in any way to fit it in, or just use your intuition, right? You know what's right for you, my love. All right, so you have two of wands as your current energy. Let's see what's your challenge for this month, Aquarius. Ace of Pentacles is your challenge. Now let's see what's your focus. Okay, we got two cards for your focus. It's King of Swords and the Ten of Wands. Right. Now let's see what's your advice. Seven of Swords is your advice. And let's see where's this taking you. Two of Cups. Nice. Two twos in here. And bottom of the deck. The Star. The Star is your card. The Star is Aquarius energy. And so is the King of Swords here. So, there we go. It's really, really beautiful that this shows up as your underlying energies, like the theme of your reading for you, the Aquarius season. Like it is Aquarius season, it is your season, it is your birthday season. If your sun is in Aquarius, if your moon or rising is in Aquarius, it's also deeply intimate. You're very deeply intimate, like the moon especially. It's who you perceive yourself to be at a very, at an inner level. And how you're processing your emotions and your unconscious. That's what the moon deals with, right? And the rising is also very related to how you see yourself, how others see you, who am I, that type of energy. So it's very interesting. Let's see where that's going. I'm going to pull out the clarifiers before I go deeper into the story. My readings do tend to be rather focused on the inner landscape, so it's actually very possible that if your moon is in Aquarius, to resonate with it even better, but that's not necessarily the case. All right, let's clarify these cards. Why are these cards here for my dear Aquarius? No, that's too much, I'm sorry. One card, please. Okay. So we have the Eight of Pentacles as your current energy along with the Two of Wands. We have the Three of Cups with the Ace of Pentacles named Abundance in this deck as your challenge. You have the Knight of Cups with the King of Swords and the Ten of Wands as your focus. You have the Two of Wands again, as your advice along with the Seven of Swords. And we have Adjustment, which is Just judgment, I think, in this deck. The numbers do not coincide with the weight deck. I mean, this is Libra energy. This is obviously, yeah, I think it's perceived as justice, this adjustment. And I love that it's called adjustment. So we'll talk about this. Okay, so bottom of the deck, we have the Knight of Discs with the Star as your underlying energy. All right, Aquarius. Let's see what's going on in here. The Star with the Knight of Discs. Okay, so knights. All knights talk about transformation. Not, I'm sorry, those are the pages. Those knights talk about expansion. You know, it's that growth when you know that you're going to the master level. You know, the queens and kings are mastering of the feminine and of the masculine energy, the tops of their suits. The knights are almost there. So they need to be dynamic. They need to walk the walk. You know, they're always depicted on horses and they're going where they're going, you know. And, you know, it's very interesting because we have this Knight of Discs and we're just coming out of Capricorn season and we're going into Aquarius season right now. And there it is. This is your card. And I was just telling you earlier that this Capricorn season might have felt quite heavy and slow. This is how Earth energy kind of is. Out of all the Earth signs, Capricorn is still kind of the fastest because it's like cardinal energy, it's an initiator. But it's still like it's dealing with physical realities, dealing with something that has substance. That's why it's called Earth, you know. Actually materializing projects, and it can feel quite slow in comparison to one's energy, in comparison to air energy, which is your realm. And you see how, like, out of all the knights, the Knight of Discs is the slowest, and that can talk about a lot of stuff. That can like illuminate the fact that, you know, physical reality requires time. When we want to see real changes, when we want to see projects becoming reality, bringing up revenue, or creating the impact that we wanted to create, it always takes time. And we're also much more cautious with the things that we put out there in order to expect growth, or in order to have a physical impact on the reality. You know, where am I putting my money, how much time I'm putting into work, like how am I putting my energy quite directly into the world. That's pretty much what the Earth realm is all about. Yeah, and you see this knight, particularly in this deck, he's like, the horse is like grazing here. It's like definitely taking his time, you know. He's not charging, not moving forward, not doing anything really. He's just like moving, looking back, and this knight here is just like, you know, all defensive here with his all fenced up. With his shield up, kind of looking on the horizon. This knight is a little bit too cautious. And you may talk to that right now. Like this might appear for you, being too cautious maybe, or taking a lot of time to move forward. You see, we have prudence here. I'm not saying that this is good or bad. I'm not saying that it's too much time or too little time. It may be something that you need to feel through this month of February that's coming. With the star, it talks about, is the water bearer. It's all about healing, and it's all about collective healing, because it's Aquarius energy. Also talks about like really being connected to the universe here. See how the star is, and all these little stars are out there are like watching over her. She's safe. She's safe to take the time and heal. She's safe to feel the emotions. She's safe to, she's naked. That means vulnerability. She can allow herself to be fully vulnerable, and she's with one foot on the ground and one foot in the water. That means she can allow herself to be also still grounded in the present and in the physical reality, but also kind of like going into the realm of emotions and feeling through. And Aquarius, I know you don't like to do that much, at least not when you're out of balance. But I think that this is kind of what you're working with. You also have two twos here and this adjustment card. So it's really pointing out a lot of emotions and about how you're dealing with that. The star. Yeah. I think I see a phoenix here. Well, it's a bird, but it looks like it's a fiery bird. So, well, it's the first time I see that phoenix there, and I've been looking at these cards many, many times. A lot to learn as we go. The point is that, yeah, it's a rebirth, it's healing. Like, the star comes after the tower falls. And you see, we are in that point in time. We are in the Aquarius season. We're entering, or we've entered, we're transitioning into the whole Aquarius era. And that's big. I mean, like, you guys need to really get to know yourself so you can share yourself with the world, because we all need this now. We need your wisdom. We need your understanding. So do take your time with it, please. Go deep, heal yourself. And when I'm saying heal yourself, it doesn't necessarily mean that you are damaged. Not at all. No, but do process and integrate your shadow aspects. Do process and integrate your trauma. Allow yourself to decondition yourself from automatic behaviors, and allow yourself to really go deep. The tower fell. Thank God. We don't need that tower anymore. It's like just a heavy defense mechanism that starts working against us. So in order to get to to really come into your own authority here, you need to allow yourself to go through this healing process step by step by step by step. And it's your current energy here. Allow yourself to really go to the core of you. You need to discover who you really are. And so we need to know who you really are, so that we can learn and be inspired by you. We really, really need your wisdom right now. Okay, so Two of Wands with with Prudence. Yeah, this one's called Prudence here. See it? Yes, you see it. Eight of Pentacles. I really love the depiction of this tree here, and you see how it's spiraling up in a sense. And there's all these plants that look like there's these pentacles, well, discs in this case, and there's the sun right up there. And this is what this is. Wait. I think it's Scorpio. Sun is Scorpio. No, this can't be Scorpio. Maybe it's Virgo. Yeah. Sorry, it's not so clear. This talks about, like, generally the Eight of Pentacles talks about hard work and about routine and about like really establishing the type of routine and tasks that you can perform masterfully. Like you're reaching mastery, you're learning to perfect your craft, you know what you're doing there. But you see, this one's here, it's called prudence, and it comes with the Two of Wands, and the Two of Wands talks about this whole making choices and understand if kind of like we don't need to settle for everything that comes in your hand or in your way now. Funny enough, as a challenge though. You see, this guy's holding the whole earth here in his hand, and there's a hand in the air here with the pentacle, but we're gonna get there in a moment. You know, the Two of Wands talks about this, like you have a choice, and maybe now it's important for you to choose wisely, really really choose wisely which direction you want to go to. Take this moment of like this Knight of Discs, and you know, look at the landscape a little bit. Allow yourself to see, okay, you've done some healing and you're still doing some healing. Choose the environment that is nurturing for you and create space for this star, this energy of the core of your core to function and to be manifested and to show up. You know, the water bearer, you Aquarius, you hold the energy of the whole humanity, the emotional energy. Water symbolizes emotion, and you understand it. That's the thing. People may consider you rather cold and distant, and we're gonna get there too, but that's not necessarily the case. Well, you're also quite charming, and it's just that like you get a certain detachment because you've felt it all to a certain degree. Yes, and as I said earlier, like when you're a little bit out of balance, you can kind of like press the button and turn off the emotions. And I think that it's really really important now to make sure that this is not going to happen, because you're getting somewhere here with this healing journey, and you're really reaching that moment where you realize how much power you really have. You know, you realize that you can actually have a life, and you can actually have an existence where it's okay to just be, and it's okay to be just exactly who you are. And all these defense mechanisms that we use to distract ourselves from this or to protect ourselves from that become fully obsolete now. Now it's up to you only to recognize them and see them. And yes, they're gonna show up. Oh, they're gonna show up. Because we get terrified when things go well for us. We get terrified because we don't really understand how to deal with that. We're always, the brain always is like a problem solving machine, is trying always to pinpoint what's the mistake, what's the problem, what's going to hurt me, what do I need to do to keep myself safe, you know. And coming out of the Capricorn season, it's all about that physical survival, safety and so on. So you know, you do have the choice now to create that environment of a nourishing environment, to choose the maybe the job that's not requiring you to not be who you are, that's pushing you maybe to be too, I don't know, it's a dog eat dog world, and it's either me or you know. The Aquarius energy is all about the collective. It's all about I don't like the term greater good, but it's really about the benefit of all beings. It's not just yes, the Aquarius can be quite individualistic or can appear so, but the work and the ideals and the whole what makes an Aquarius tick is when he's doing humanitarian work, when he's connecting to human nature, when he understands the human nature and so on. So do suit yourself and give yourself time to take this choice and choose prudently. Be really really careful to not just go for whatever feels just safe, because it's not safety that it's not that type of safety, you know. So when things just look safe, We don't allow for vulnerability. It's kind of when we really block ourselves out from any type of experience and from opportunity. And here is what's coming as your challenge, and this is absolutely fascinating. Ace of Pentacles and Three of Pentacles, which means abundance in this deck. So if you do not, if you really just go for safety and for what's predictable, or what this guy can sometimes do, you know, if you take it too slow, it may sound a little bit like a paradox, but what feels safe is not necessarily the prudent choice or the safe choice. Depends which part of us we're talking about here. Generally, we like the familiar. The familiar feels safe, but the familiar is not necessarily a nurturing environment. Sometimes the familiar can be, I don't know, trauma, stress, violence, like high levels of internal stress being triggered somehow. If you grow up with these high levels of triggers and stress, internal stress, we will be bound to keep looking for that. And whenever things go okay, we freak out. And because it registers inside as boredom and emptiness and pointlessness and purposelessness. That's a word, yeah. So I hope it's clear for you that the safe choice or the prudence that's required here is not that kind of safety that comes from what is familiar or just the known. You are required to take a leap of faith here, to take the coat out and to stay, you know, naked and vulnerable, and to allow yourself to experience you, not what people tell you you are, not what the society expects of you, but who you really are beyond all those layers of conditioning. And that usually, like, well, as Aquariuses go, it's that humanitarian that we're talking about. But yeah, if you go only for what's safe in the term of what's the familiar, what's in the comfort zone, then you're missing out on huge opportunities here of like really accessing this space of abundance. Abundance in all forms. Abundance that you see, like this is Pentacles, you know, abundance, material abundance even. Maybe you're blocking yourself up from projects or from things that are of great interest to you, or there could be if you allowed this opening, you know. Maybe sometimes the things come into our life and we get like a somewhat of an invitation to them, and we are like, no, that's out of my league, or that's something I'm not trained enough for that, or for this or this or that, and we back out because it's scary. Don't back out, don't close down. Remember that you can choose what kind of environment you're going to join right now. It's really your choice. Choose wisely. Yeah. Let's see the focus though. I'm gonna come back to this, I have a feeling. Just having some tea with you, my dear Aquarius. Oh yeah, there you are. Okay, so you focus, King of Swords, 10 of Wands, and the Knight of Cups. King of Swords, Aquarius energy. King of Swords is that king that had rich mastery over his mind. And when I say reaching mastery of his mind, it means that he's coming in full presence. His mind is, you know, is doing what mind does. He's thinking about this, thinking about that, looking, I don't know, examining this, analyzing that. But he's not driven by it. he has the capacity to observe these qualities of the mind, and he allows it to flow with it. That keeps him in the present moment, that keeps him always connected, that keeps him to be a great observer, because he's not going into the trance of thoughts. He's able to observe thoughts, and he's able to observe everything around thoughts. And instead of thoughts becoming like all this huge whirlpool that completely take him over, the thoughts become like this smaller thing. And and he's able to see and connect it. He's able to connect the dots, he's able to see the big picture. And these are qualities that you have, Aquarius, as long as you keep yourself in balance, as long as you bring yourself into the present moment. You, just like anyone else, can easily fall to the trance of thoughts, the trance of fear, the trance of unworthiness, the trance of how many they can be, all generated from the thoughts that create like a feedback loop with your emotional state. And dark thoughts can bring out dark emotions, or and usually dark thoughts are not necessarily, oh, I want to kill that person, or I want to do this, I want to do that. That's like despicable or whatever. It's more about like how we feel about ourselves, and generating that weird inner story that that enables these defense mechanisms that I was talking about earlier to take over. But you see, this is your focus. Like this is definitely within your realm, within your reach right now. You have these abilities and this capacity, and you're reaching also the end of a journey here with this Ten of Wands. It's like an end of a cycle, of a spiritual cycle. Look at what becoming complicated in your spiritual life. I'm sure you practice some type of spirituality, otherwise you wouldn't be here. This is not exactly rocket science, or like not rocket science, that's not what I mean. Like, it's not something that's incredibly grounded in reality, like a KJ report or whatever. This is more like channeling healing messages from the spirit, from the universe. You may need to be able to talk that language in order to understand anything of this. Otherwise, it just looks ridiculous to most of you, right? So we are all on a spiritual journey, whether we are aware of it or not. You're obviously ending a cycle right now. Look at your belief system. Look at your actions into the world, and look what became heavy for you right now. Look at what has been dragging you back, maybe breaking your back here. You've been carrying a little bit too much, and it's time for you to let that go. And it's a normal, a natural part of the cycle. We're all going through this. That's what growth means. But part of the growth is also to drop now this load, because it's not for you to carry anymore. Check out, like, use these qualities of the King of Swords, of like being able to see the big picture, being able to communicate maybe with other people and with you, with the part of yourself that's in here, and also being able to look at your emotions with the Knight of Cups. And allow this, like we were talking about, the Knights are all about expansion, allowing through this by seeing this part of you and seeing why you've been carrying so much and you've been reaching this point of overwhelm and overload. Maybe you thought it's a belief system that it's your duty to carry this. Maybe it's having to do with, I know, family karma, or with yeah, it's one, so it's about beliefs. But with the Knight of Cups here, which again, it's expansion of your emotional realm. I think that you're able now to bring in compassion. This is something that the King of Swords sometimes seems to lack, because he's like all these, like, sounds so calculated and strategic and rather cold. But as we were talking with the whole Aquarius energy, that's not necessarily the case. Allow yourself to show some of this emotion and some of this compassion, not just empathy, but compassion. Really, really being able to to not over identify with this part of you. First of all, bring compassion to yourself here. Bring compassion to this part of you that's been carrying this overload, not that because he was a fool or she, that part of you, not because you, I don't know, there's nothing wrong with that. As I said, it's a natural part of the process. But by bringing in compassion for yourself now, you will be able to not over-identify with this. Or like, okay, yes, I believed this at the time because it made sense to me based on my belief system. Now it's time to use this King of Swords and look at my belief system and be like, does this still make sense? Is this still relevant? I'm on a healing journey here. I'm making all these choices to create the nurturing environment that I need to really come to the core of things and to really allow my my deepest and most valuable part of me to come out, which is my heart, really. To be able to connect to my heart space, to be able to connect to the humanity at large, and to do so from a place of compassion. When you show yourself compassion, you can show compassion to the rest of the world. Otherwise, you will judge the rest of the world the same way you judge yourself, which can be quite harshly. You have Saturn as a ruler, along with Uranus, which is all about, revolution and blah, blah. But Saturn is like tradition, structure, hard work, limitations, and so on. So there's definitely that there. Allow this growth and allow for compassion to play a big role here for you right now. That would enable you to really feel through this part of you that needs to carry so much, and to feel just how tired and overwhelmed it is, and to tend to it, to allow it to drop the load, whatever that can be. I mean, like, that load can be can manifest in so many ways. It can manifest in the way you are relating to your family. Maybe you've been carrying a little bit too much. Maybe you have, I don't know, sick friends or family members, and you've been completely giving yourself up in order to help them. Or maybe you had to give up your dreams of some sort of others because there's no financial instability, or maybe, anything. It doesn't necessarily need to be about financial stuff. It can literally be about pursuing a dream that maybe you weren't able, you didn't believe before you're capable to pursue. Something that can allow yourself to transform, to expand this emotion side of yours, and to truly connect to yourself. I think that we're looking at your focus, at your advice now. So this becomes less of a challenge for you to be able to see these huge opportunity that's coming in your life. This capacity of operating from abundant mindset and experiencing abundance in all forms. I think compassion is the key. But yeah, your advice with the Seven of Swords. Seven of Swords is a pretty scary card when you look at it, because we're afraid that we're going to be called out on our bullshit or something of the sort. Because you see this guy is kind of like running away with the swords in the night, stealing, cheating, things like this. But sevens are all about taking stock of our thoughts, taking stock of good thoughts, because this is swords, right? But if it's Seven of Cups, it's taking stock of our emotions. Sevens all talk about physical reality, but it's kind of the higher physical. It's like when you complete some cycles there. Severance talk about challenges, about the spiritual challenges that we need to overcome in order to bring up that growth, enable the next part of the cycle. And the Seven of Swords talks a lot about understanding kind of like what is your thought pattern, what are the stories that you're telling yourself, what, just check, do a quick check-in and see what's there, see what's kind of like at the border of your awareness right now. If you slow down enough and you really really take a deep breath within and stay present with your thoughts, allow your mind to flow, don't block it, don't say like, okay, I don't need to think about anything, I need to focus and go into concentration and to go into samadhi and that's it. No, it's about allowing. There is more like vipassana style, like and go into meditation maybe, or go in reflection mode somewhere by a lake or in a walk, whatever works for you, and allow your mind to flow. But don't go along with the thoughts, as in don't identify yourself with the thoughts. Keep that element of compassion that we were just talking about earlier, and observe just what's there. Observe just as what's at that border between awareness and the subconscious and unawareness. For me, it became fascinating when I'm starting seeing that. I hear an ancient goddamn voice, sorry, an ancient voice that it's talking in such a childish manner, and it's telling stories like somewhere in the back of my head that I wasn't aware. They're always there. There's always like telling that story. Look, and that person looks like a little bit aggressive. Oh, what if they think about me now? Do they think they noticed me or not? Do they think that I said this right or not? I don't know, like all kind of like stuff. And I wasn't aware of this until I slowed down. These are like that 5-year-old that's been trapped somewhere inside. But I don't know what story of the past, which had never had the chance to grow. It's still there, describing the experience from those terms. And now you have the chance to see it. Now you have the chance to observe it. And the Seven of Swords as an advice can also come as advice to tell you to keep some things for yourself right now. Maybe not share everything that comes to your mind, because you still need to kind of observe and start seeing the patterns and create that whole place of create that space of awareness and create that space of compassion and create a relationship with that part of you that's been so long there that you forgot it existed, and that's so hidden that you weren't able to hear or see before or be aware of its existence, right? And with Dominion, this is Mars in Aries. This is like Mars being home in Aries. This means that you are becoming like, by allowing this process, you are really coming into your power. Dominion, it's like you can take over the world now. But it means that you are able to choose which stories you believe and not, because you see which makes sense and which is completely ridiculous. And you can also choose to allow more space for that whole emotional part, which sometimes you kind of like don't like to connect to, as I said, Aquarius, or you're since you're like more scientific oriented, which is wonderful, beautiful, we need that, and logical and so on. Sometimes you tend to denigrate emotions and be annoyed by people that are becoming emotional and so on, but there's so much information in emotions and there's so much value in expressing them. So you are able to create that type of space, that type of reality, that type of world for yourself, where you can experience emotions, where you can experience the thoughts without having to believe them all, and you can choose what you believe. You can choose which story you want it to be your story, and you can rewrite your narrative. And it's not, doesn't mean lying that this happened or this didn't happen in your past, but more like interpreting your narrative. Am I the victim here? Am I the abuser here? Am I the good guy? Am I the bad guy? We can look at a story in so many different ways. And there are usually no winners and losers, and no the good and bad becomes very vague when you really get deeper into the core of whatever issue that is. Because I don't know, that's the bad guy. Okay, yeah, that's the bad guy, but that bad guy came into the world as a innocent child. So what what made this guy be the bad guy or whatever? Think about all kinds of movies that have been created like this, like going, what was it? That one with the it was a very famous one with Arnold Schwarzenegger. We went back in time to kill a child because that child would grow to be, I don't know what, criminal mastermind that will completely destroy. I forgot the name of it. It's very famous, you know what I mean. The point is like, yeah, what made that child to become the bad guy? If we grow compassion, if we connect to that space, we can understand how good and bad become much more relative. And now it's not about getting lost in ambiguous moralities here. It's really more about being able to accept things for what they are, and to understand how the stories that we tell ourselves are so important if we believe them. If we fall into the trance of them, if we leave them rather than observe them, and identify with the hero of a story of some kind. We do communicate through narratives. That's how we understand ourselves. That's how we understand the world. We are storytellers, and we need these stories in order to make sense of the world and to communicate. But we can communicate very, very clearly, and Aquarius are like the master of this. Communication is your thing. And you can communicate the stories from a much wider perspective. Again, King of Swords. Okay, so where this is taking you? Well, it's taking you to completely new adjustment that it brought into your relationships and into the way you interact with the rest of the world. It can be about your romantic relationships, about reconnecting with all these people that you've been carrying all this shit for them, or even connecting differently with sorry, I just got distracted for a second there. It's just like not connecting to the different aspects of yourself. The one that's been carrying too much, the one that's been hiding, the little child that's afraid that if you see him, he's got to get punished or whatever. The one that's telling the narrative from that perspective of the 5 years old. The wise one, the sensitive and vulnerable one, the slow one, do whatever. So you allow for integration and for communication and for these parts to kind of come together in full balance. It's called adjustment, and these two are in full balance here. This means balanced relationships, healthy relationships, showing up from a place of mutual respect and not having our cup full, not coming from an empty cup and tell me more about how amazing I am and validate my feelings and so on. No, this is from a place of like, I know who I am. I went deep down there in the core, and I know that I don't need anything from anyone. I am safe. I am here. I am in the now, and I'm connected to my heart, and I'm connected to the whole universe. And I know that I'm whole as I am, because I went deep and I learned to integrate all this. This is balance. This is, I'm here to meet you, to see who you are, what expression of the universe are you, and how you manage to become, what's your unique part, what do you bring into this world. I'm curious to learn that, and I'm happy to show myself to you naked as I am. That's full authority, that's full awareness, and that's real connection. So that's a great journey. That's really a great journey. I'm humbled here, Aquarius. Now, let's see what's a spirit message for you from our friend Rumi, the poet. Okay. Don't know what happened here, but I feel all shaky all of a sudden after finishing all this part. So it's number 24, and it says resplendent with grace. And look at this lady floating here, of all the universe watching her, and she's just flowing there. Part of it, flowing with it. Graceful. 24. Let's read this. Did I just? No. But yeah, there we are. Too complicated. It's too far. I can't see it. So I'll just keep it here and read to you. So the poem from Rumi says, greetings from my heart to you who are always with me, hidden inside as the heart. You are the compass of my life. My course is your way no matter where I go. You exist everywhere and in everything, always watching over us. My soul brightens in the darkness when I speak your name. Far beyond the body, there is an opening from my heart into yours. Through that opening, I send you secret messages like the moonlight. I polish the mirror of my heart to be your reflection. I make my ear the receiver for the tenderness of your words. You are in the ear, you are in the mind, you are in every burning heart. What am I saying? You are I. This is my way to describe you. Rumi. Now, isn't that beautiful? Okay. Okay, this is a long read, so I'm gonna cut it short and go to, okay, let me just summarize this for a minute. So is it difficult to see your magnificence without the big mirror? Without the mirror the size of a galaxy, how could you possibly witness all that you are? Oh, I love this. Of course, it matters not to grace whether you see or do not see, for grace simply is, without witnessing being required. You should you come to okay, yeah, no, that's too fragmented. This oracle comes to you with a message. You may be wondering if you can attain this next stage of growth in your life. You are already well equipped to do so, no matter what you might believe about the situation, circumstances, or others involved, even yourself. You have within you your soul possession more than enough grace to... No, you have within your soul possession more than enough grace to see you through anything you are bold enough to envision for yourself. For any vision you feel life has bestowed upon you. So pray through unconditional love to access all that you are, to be supported by those beings that love you without condition. Pray to realize that you are so drenched in sacred grace that the well of your being is full. All that is needed to nurture you onto the next step of your life path is within you now. Success is yours, but you must believe in your ability, your readiness, and your capacity to take this next phase of the journey now. How could it be otherwise? For you are one with grace. The star talks like, the tower is the grace of divinity, where we learn the lessons that really need to be learned. And the star is all about healing. And here you are holding the whole earth in your hand and making that choice to nurture you, like what it says here. All that is needed to nurture you onto the next step of your life path is within you now. It's within your hands. Don't freak out about this. You are one with grace. Okay. I hope this makes sense to you, Aquarius. It's a really, really wonderful journey. All my respects for that. And thank you so much for being here, for joining me, for having your tea hopefully with me, and for thank you so much for liking, sharing, or subscribing, and subscribing, if it resonates with you, right? Because if these messages do something for you, and you really benefit from them by liking, sharing, and subscribe, it helps other people to benefit from there as well, right? From them. All right. Thank you again, Aquarius, and may our practice benefit all beings.